What determines the value of koi? Unlike the horde of AI-generated content, with scripts taking like 30 minutes to get through. Let's see how you've been doing. Or the amount of laymen making videos on the subject. I actually have experience in the koi industry. About 10 years. You can look at the time code of this video. I'm not gonna sit here wasting your time. It's gonna be short and to the point. Let's take a look at how this wound is doing. That's starting to heal. I also wanna use her to emphasize body and coloration. If a koi has unstandard correct pattern and deep and intense color, but is 17 centimeters and is 5 years old, congratulations, it's near worthless. The body is also very important, and it gets pretty complicated. Let's step into my office. Also where I live. Yeah. Nobody's gonna hear what I said. Many explained it to me as a teardrop shaped. But you'll notice a teardrop has a very tapered point on the top. What is the top and the bottom half of a teardrop? Another term used is torpedo shape, which is just basically a very elongated oval, none of which really hits the nail on the head. The best way I can try and describe amazing koi body is as follows. You want the sides of the koi to almost bulge out from behind the head. Very gradually tapers to the tail with a nice thick peduncle at the end. It's not supposed to be a thin tapering effect. A koi that has a little skinny body or a tadpole body is not gonna grow correctly, and it will also impact the price negatively. Many years ago, I had a comment on one of my short form videos. This was before YouTube Shorts was a thing, but I don't want to mention that I'm also on TikTok because that's a cringe platform.
Who are we to decide what is beautiful and what is not beautiful?
Something to that effect. She also said,
I really like your hair.
She didn't say that last part. I just need a coping mechanism. So the answer to that is because we bred koi, not me, like the Japanese. We as humans to look a certain way with certain standards in mind. So we get to say what they should look like and what they shouldn't look like. So shut the fuck. The color, pattern, and intensity of that color and pattern varies depending on the variety. Coloration is acceptable for one fish, is not acceptable for another fish. With all that being said, if a koi has an amazing body, but very poor coloration, in order for a koi to be truly expensive, they need amazing intensity of color, good on-standard pattern, and an amazing body on top of that. Another factor was the koi bought on auction. And then what kind of auction? Because you get different ones. The famous S Legend, which was the Sakai kohaku that sold for $1.7, $1.8 million, round about there. 24 million rand at the time, because this was a few years ago. She was bidded for on auction. She wasn't sold as is, as an almost $2 million fish. Then silent auctions. You'll place an anonymous bid beforehand, so the other bidders don't know how much you put on the table. One with the highest price gets the fish. A fish acquired through a silent auction would be cheaper than a fish that was the subject of a bidding war. Another factor, which a lot of people don't like to bring up, Japan has a very high cost of living, apparently. Then on top of that, the wholesaler also has to make their cut. Now I can confirm, usually, it's not 100% profit margin that they make. It is often a bit less than that. And it's important to remember that if they were to ask 100%, it's not pure profit because there's other expenses involved, such as oxygen.
He means oxygen from tanks for shipping fish, not yummy lung food from nature.
Feed, infrastructure. There's a lot of overhead fees that need paying. Many honorable dealers will even bring the price down if they feel that the quality is just not there on the fish. Once you start going into the territory of 200 profit margin on a low quality fish, that's when things get a little bit dodgy. Look at various different koi wholesalers in your area and to get an idea of the price range you're going to be looking at. Some guys will be a little bit more expensive, some guys will be a little bit cheaper, and other guys will try and do daylight robbery, which is why you gotta watch out for these things. Now, of course, my experience is in the South African koi industry, but I do keep a little bit of an eye on what's going on in the US of A. America! The only place that matters is Texas. Well, it used to anyway, before California anyway. And koi are often sold 3 times, 9 times the price what that same fish would be worth in South Africa. With that being said, Mystic Koi and Water Garden, their prices reflect what I would expect to pay for that same fish in South Africa. The breeder also plays a role in the price of a koi. For example, a showa bred by me is not going to be as expensive as a koi bred by the Dainichi Koi Farm, currently being run by the Mano brothers. Super proud of this. My first koi with a certificate bred by the Dainichi Koi Farm. You can also tell there's a bit of graying going on underneath the skin, so she could go very dark in the future. Not a show fish, but as long as I have the bloodline. She was supposed to go on auction. Nobody bid on her. And so my agent contacted me. Hey, these fish that were supposed to go to auction was never bidded on. Are you interested? There was 3. Fortunately, I managed to grab her before the other guys could. Why is the Dainichi Showa more expensive in this regard? And the reason is the Dainichi Koi Farm breeds some of the best Showa in the world. Think of the breeder's name as a stamp of quality. If a wholesaler needs to get rid of a bunch of koi because new fish are coming in, they will have special deals because they need to make more room. That'll also be an opportunity to get fish for a bit of a cheaper price. And then, of course, there's things like Christmas specials and Black Friday specials and 5-finger discount. I don't steal koi. Every once in a while, somebody contacts me. All right, look, I don't want an expensive fish. I want a pretty fish. And I understand the sentiment. It confabulates my brain a little bit because there is such a thing as correct art, and then there is also such a thing as a toddler's scribbles, that it's not your toddler and you're not gonna put that on your fridge. So in my brain, pretty but cheap doesn't really go together. Almost activated my domain expansion there. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at is the more beautiful a koi, the more expensive it's gonna be. With all that being said, once a koi reaches a certain level of genetic art, the breeder can basically just ask whatever they want for it.